Do you find that other people are not taking you seriously with the boundaries that you set? Hi, my name is Pamela Barrett, your boundaries coach, and today I'm going to share with you 3 things for you to consider when it comes to setting the right boundaries, those boundaries that are going to ensure that people are respecting your boundaries and they're honoring the boundary that you set. So how many times have you attempted to set a boundary with someone and they didn't honor it? And you're thinking, did they not hear what I said? They may not have heard what you said because of the 3 different things I'm going to share with you today, right? The first thing is you want to make sure that your boundaries that you set are not based on emotion. Now, you can have emotion when it comes to your boundaries, but you don't want to communicate your boundaries based on that emotion because then that's considered a reaction and not a response. So what do you do when you get these emotions that are all over the place because the way that you feel about the way that somebody responded to you, right? Whenever you need to set a boundary, you want to make sure, first of all, you identify what the emotion is. So you step back for a moment and then you take it to paper. That's right. You go get your journal out and a pen and you start writing because it's so important when it comes to communicating your boundary that it's based on thought and it is not based on emotion. So you want to identify what it is about this situation that causes you the need to set a boundary. When your head gets involved or your thought gets involved, you can become much clearer on the boundary that you need to set, and then you can communicate it based on that thought versus on that emotion. And then here's what happens. Then you respond versus react. So that's one of the things you want to do, number 1. Number 2, you want to make sure that you are actually communicating your boundary properly. How many times have we thought we communicated a boundary, but when we step back and think about it, we didn't communicate it properly? Let me tell you, if you're communicating a boundary based on a text message, you didn't communicate it properly. You got to make sure that a person is clear. Could it be voice to voice or it could be face to face? So you are able to have some eye contact preferably, and you're able to allow that person to communicate back to you what they heard so you can get clarity that you two are on the same page. Now, always remember that a boundary is meant to be a win-win situation, not somebody overpowering anyone else. When you do it based on emotion, you're mainly trying to control a situation and you're not coming to a win-win. But when you communicate it based on the thought, based on the work you've done with your journaling, then you now can communicate it in a way that's a response, not a reaction, and you can make sure it's a clear win-win by the communication that you've established and getting feedback to make sure that that individual is clear on the boundary that you've just communicated. Here's another thing you got to know. It is never too late to set a healthy boundary. You may be thinking, well, that happened last week. That's fine. And here's the other thing. You should never be pressured into setting a boundary because when you feel pressured, then you're doing it based on emotion. All right. So that's 2 big ones for you. And then the third one, you want to make sure that you are sticking to that boundary that you've communicated and you've got agreement on for that win-win. Here's what happens. A lot of times we may back up. Someone may cross our boundary and we don't address it. Then what happens? We start to feel like we're taken advantage of, but then we don't say anything. And if we do, it comes out as an emotion. And there we're going again, back into that cycle. Make sure as soon as you've identified someone crossing your boundary that you don't back up that line to give them permission to not honor it. All right? So make sure you stand clear on that boundary. There you go. You've got 3 things to consider to ensure that other people are honoring your boundary. You want to make sure, first of all, that you're not doing it based on emotion. It's a well thought out process that you're going through to ensure that that boundary is communicated properly. Secondly, you're making sure that you're communicating it and you're not based on your emotion to dictate how that emotion comes across. Because again, you're looking for a win-win and you're looking to make sure that there's clarity on the boundary that you set. And third, you want to make sure you're not backing up that boundary on your own, giving someone else permission not to honor your boundary. If you have any questions about any of the boundaries that you need to set, that's what I'm here for as your boundaries coach. Just leave me a message, a comment down below, and let's see if we can talk about it. And don't forget to subscribe, because you don't want to miss any of the videos that I'm doing that are helping you to begin living life on your terms and setting the boundaries in the area in your life that truly matter. This is Pamela Bird, your boundaries coach, and let's talk boundaries, shall we?